Well, Matt, coming up to a busy Easter, Easter's always a busy time in the football calendar, and good that we're going into it still very much in contention for honours at the top end of the table for the second season in a row.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, and what you want to be at this stage of the season. It's always a big weekend in the football calendar, the Easter programme, and the two games then over that weekend. So we've got 7 games to go. Most have got 7 or 8 in the division. It's the business end, and we're certainly in the mix, and still all to play for, and that's what you want. And then when you then look at the 2 games that we have got and teams in and around us who we're competing against, it all sets up for a really good weekend of football.
Before we look ahead, just a quick look back at Walsall, because obviously 2 points went begging there right at the end, which would have had us a lot closer to the playoffs going into the weekend. How long did it take for the frustration to settle down, or hasn't it yet?
You try to, obviously, and it doesn't help when you watch the game back and see how dominant you were and how comfortable you were right until that sort of injury time period. And just a disappointing build up to the free kick, which we then concede from. So nothing really changed from what I said to you after the game of being so pleased with a hell of a lot of things. Second goal would have been lovely as always, but unfortunately we couldn't get that one. But then you trust your team to keep the clean sheet, see it through. But unfortunately, it just wasn't to be. And it's very easy, as I said after the game, just to look at the goalkeeper, check Rose, just because one's bounced off of him, but not at all. He's been outstanding for us this season, and such a great signing. And keepers do make mistakes. All players make mistakes, but unfortunately, when you're a goalkeeper, if you do make one more often than not, it leads to a goal, and it gets highlighted. So Jack's made the first one in I don't know how long. He's been outstanding, and it's just a one-off. And unfortunately, we take the point when we certainly deserved all 3.
And it did kick up at him a little bit as well. It was like getting a ball short of a length that suddenly comes up around your chest. It was wasn't the easiest one when looking back at it. It wasn't the easiest.
No, totally. No, it wasn't. It's one you expect him to deal with, but it's not a give me. And a tricky goal mouth there, a bit of a heavy dead pitch. Not a lot of grass in the goal mouth, and it just pops up at him, and fortunately just spills off. So a tough one to take.
We've touched on it probably a couple of times. As much as the frustration of the late goal, is there a frustration as well that it's probably not the first game where we've been on top and haven't scored the second goal that would kill the opposition off and make what happens in the last minute sort of more academic?
Yeah, and it would be nice. We've had many chances. We've created a lot of chances in the first half, but not so much in the second half. A comfortable, solid away performance, which I was really happy with, other than just maybe really looking to punish them on the counter-attack, and when we got into good areas and moved the ball well, and just looking for that little bit of end product, as you say, just to see the game off and get to where that leads you into the last dying minutes of the game a lot more comfortable than you are, obviously, than a 1-goal lead.
And now, turning away from that, now looking ahead to Stockport and Bradford over the weekend. Obviously, the 1 game at a time, and now we'll stick with Stockport mainly. Disappointing afternoon up there in October. I guess you'll be hoping to get past the 3rd minute and still have 11 players on the pitch this time, and see how we get on against them then.
I hope so. It was a frustrating afternoon for us there, because it's a good place to go and play football. It's a good atmosphere. A good side. I hugely respect the manager and get on well with Dave, and I think he's got a top side and some really good players, and we were really looking forward to the game. But unfortunately, 3 minutes in, after starting quite bright for the first couple, a decision which I still don't think is a red card is gone against us, and now that leads into a long afternoon for us, and it was tough enough with 11 to go and try and get a result there, let alone with 10, and unfortunately we lose 3-0. So I'm hoping we keep 11 on the pitch tomorrow for sure, certainly after 3 minutes, and hopefully for the 93. So you're looking forward to the game because of all what I've just said there, and looking to try and put that right from October, get back to winning ways at home in front of a big crowd, and against the team who were up in around those playoffs with us.
And looking at the game and the one on Monday as well, the fact that it's sides who are in the playoffs just ahead of us, sort of, don't like to use the phrase 6-pointer, but somebody will over the weekend for both of them.
because they're big games anyway, because of where we are in the league and how many games we've got left, and it's the Easter weekend, and all I've just said there in terms of the stage of the season. But then when you add into the mix of us trying to get in the playoffs, and they're both playoff searching teams minimum, if not, I would imagine both teams would certainly be maybe even an iron up an automatic spot still as well. So they're two big clubs for the division, massive fan bases, two really good managers, and they'll be extremely tough games. But for us, from where we've come from first half of the season, with the problems that we've had, how we hung in there, and came through the storm, and how we've kicked on, and 3 defeats in 21, and really put ourselves in the mix with 7 games to go and only 6 points off the playoffs, is a testament to everyone at the club. But these two are really, really big games. But don't get me wrong, we're certainly not in the playoffs if it goes positively for us over the next few days. But we're certainly not out of it. Whether it goes the other way, still a lot of football to be played. But it is a big weekend, and these are 2 big games.
When you're just outside the playoff position, as we are at the moment, do you think it's an advantage to be playing sides that are in there so you can sort of affect yourselves and the opposition, or would you rather have home games against sides that are lower down the table, where on paper you're more likely to win them?
Good question, Tony. Yeah, it's a good. It depends. It really depends. It depends that sometimes you can play a mid-table side, of you can look at either way. It might be on the beach already and fizzled out and not playing what they were maybe a while ago, or they're playing with a freedom that can be very, very dangerous. But you want to be playing teams at probably either end of the table, where still really fighting for every point, and there's pressure on them to get points just as much as it is ours. And that certainly is the case with these 2 games coming up. You know, they've got to get results against us to keep us at arm's length, and you know, with our ambitions of desperate to try and get into the playoffs ourselves, that we've got to try and put positive results together as well. So yeah, I'll see you look at it, but I'm really pleased, and I'm looking forward to coming up against these 2 sides who will feel with what their aspirations for the season, that they've got to try and beat us. And I think that really suits us and plays into our hands, and we can have a really real good go at them also.
Now, looking at the injury front, Kobe Rowe missed out last week because of the concussion after the clash of heads at Mansfield. How's he come along this week?
Yeah, he's trained. He's had a couple of little symptoms which just made him miss the game last weekend. He's trained all week and he's fit and available.
And on the other injury side, Hashim Kasimu, Matt Dennis, Louis John, and Josh Nerf will all be missing recently. Are we yet at the stage where we're looking and wondering if they'll feature again this season, or are they all hopeful of playing a part before the end of the season?
Josh is fit and available. He's trained, so he's available in the squad for tomorrow. Louis John is now back out doing some running, as is Hish, and so is Matty Dennis, and Matty Dennis is very close as well. So Matty maybe not tomorrow, but it's got every chance for Bradford. Louis and Hish will build up their running after the weekend, and as I say, Josh and Kobe come into the squad.
So that's John Barden, obviously the one who's out sort of longer term. I don't think anybody expected to see him again this season, and he's still progressing well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's had another specialist appointment recently, and for the stage of his injury, he's well on course. He's training hard. It's great to have him in and around the place and around the dressing room and the lads day to day, and he's working extremely hard to keep where he is and keep progressing forward on his long recovery back.
And the Easter weekend, slightly strange. Traditionally, it's a bit more local, but home to a Manchester-based side tomorrow, and then trip to Bradford on Monday. It being a Friday and Monday, does it throw out your sort of normal plans? Do you have to make special arrangements for this sort of layout schedule?
Not overly. You just whether it's the Easter weekend, bank holidays, or whatever they are, you're just very much in your football zone and your football world and your training schedule, and you're travelling. Nothing changes for us. Or it's 2 close games, but no, we'll be training in between. We'll be travelling up to Bradford, obviously the day before, and staying on Easter Sunday overnight up there, ready for the game on Monday. So come back obviously late Monday night, and then getting the preparations right for the following game on Saturday.
Yeah, and they don't get any easier with Orient than Northampton the following week, but we'll leave those for the moment. But a big Easter coming up, 2 great games, as you say, 2 big crowds. It should be an exciting time. We wish you well, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Friday.